can't speak to anybody else's experiences. I can speak to my own. I remember very well, at least in my mind, railing against the modern day society of my teenage years as a result of the fact that I felt like there were a lot of people who were doing things that were just wrong. Now let's make one thing perfectly clear. As an 18-year-old, as a teenager, preteen, and even after my teenage years, I acknowledge that I was wrong in a whole lot of stuff that I believed, a bunch of it. And that's why today I wanted to talk on the subject of the new crop on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Friday, the 20th of August of 2021. Welcome to everyone who is here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. I would much prefer you watch me there as anywhere else you possibly can for a number of reasons, not the least of which being that I don't see them being censorious to the degree that other platforms are, and I'm not going to go into naming names. Again, the subject today is the new crop, and I'm going to go ahead very quickly and read my notes so that you have some idea about what I'm talking. They're young, they're idealistic, they're often intelligent. Most of the time, they're wrong about almost everything. I well remember being a young man and thinking I had this bull of a world by the proverbial horns. I would have had to work really hard to be more wrong. I've spoken before about wisdom. I've said it comes with time and experience, with age. You can put it as age or time, whichever you prefer. This is what each new generation lacks that the former ones are at least beginning to gain. It's fair to say that even previous generations often go through a long foundering period wherein they learn their rebellion against the previous generation, often more than one generation, is not helpful or correct. They'll have their day, but they may not be so happy when they get it. The hardest part, they're probably going to accept the flat-out error in what they believe and the results of those ideas and ideals. So to be clear, what I'm saying is they're probably not going to accept that anybody else can be right. No, they and the group that they have put their trust in are the ones who are. I guess we have to live with that fact. The irony, the next crop will likely be just as interested in counting them foolish and wrong-headed as they did with their parents, or where their parents are concerned. If you're young, what I'm saying to you may or may not come as a revelation. I would assume that it does. May or may not make sense. Maybe something that you go, yeah, whatever to, right? All of this is true. If you're older and you've faced and fessed up to what you were, you know what I'm saying about your generation is probably correct. You probably went through that period where you had the bull by the horns and you thought you knew everything and everything was good for you and it was all nice and the world was rosy, only to have things turn out to be nothing like you thought they were, and for you probably to come to that realization that your parents were a whole lot more correct than you ever would have acknowledged or admitted when you were younger. I'm pretty sure that most people that's true for. Maybe you're not one of those people. Maybe you're one of those people. I've met some of them who are wise beyond their years and actually had it to where they knew more and understood more. And some of it was that they listened to those previous generations. The ones who were better at that, it seems like they actually listened to their previous generations instead of doing like people like me did and trying to discard it all and coming back to the realization that all of what my parents and so forth were saying was correct. Right? But many of us went through that process where we had no idea what we were doing. We thought we had it all under control. We realized in the course of time not only did we not have it under control, but that our parents and previous generations had actually done a whole bunch of stuff that we weren't even aware of, and it made it so that we looked awfully foolish. We had that egg on our face by the time we finally came to the point where we started to take responsibility and started to realize that some of the things people had been saying to us were not true, correct, or right. Okay? That is to say righteous, to say proper, not just correct, but not righteous. And so what I'm saying to the current crop of up-and-comers, the quote new crop, what I'm saying to you is, please, at least have the grace to not belittle or make fun of or whatever older people, because what you need to understand is where you currently are, they have very likely in some sense been. Have they been exactly where you are? Well, no, of course not. No two people probably goes through exactly the same thing. You might actually find somebody who's been through more or less the same things that you have, but you should be pretty surprised if that actually happens. That all having been said, though, the point that I'm making is this. Those people have been through things in all likelihood that you never have. I'm going to toot my own horn for just a second. I spent 2 years in the Republic of Korea, 10 years married to a Korean lady. I have, my oldest kid is over 30, closer to 40 than barely than to 30. And I've gone through any number of career changes and jobs and various things that have hopefully given me a little bit of wisdom on how the world works. And now I'm going to knock myself down. There are people out there at my same age, many people out there at my same age, who make me look stupid and sick with how little it looks like I've accomplished in my life and the things that they've done by comparison. The point of all of this, though, is to say, if you look at your life and you compare it even to the life of somebody who's not all that great like me, the chances are pretty good that you're going to find that there are a lot of things for you to learn that you've not come anywhere close to by this point in your life. You may be the new crop, but you're not the only one. You're not the first one by any stretch. Yes, you may accomplish some things. Your current what's the term they like? Generation. Your current generation, that's the term they like to use. I don't really agree with the generational term. I don't think it's a good way to couch things, but let's just use it for the second. Your current generation may manage things that prior generations did not. In fact, if they didn't, I would be kind of sad, because that's one of the things that we hope for, is that future generations will actually take the time to learn and be able to do things that former generations were not able to do. Now, to be fair, we see a lot of times things getting lost along the way as well. But the fact is, you don't need wheelwrights to the same degree that you needed back when the horse-drawn wagon was a thing. A very common thing, right? You don't need people making horse carriage wheels. You just don't need that. Some of the things that are lost are unfortunate. What percentage, I would be hard put to say. But my point is this. It's certainly hope that you will get and figure out new or problems that people before you had not. I'll put it that way. That's possible. And I'm not trying to sit here and say there's nothing good that you will produce or that your generation will make happen. I'm just saying this. There is a tendency to look at the former generations, or whatever you want to call them, as flawed. I get it, but you need to understand. You'll, as they used to say, you'll catch more flies with honey than you will with vinegar. If those former groups of people have things that they can give or teach you, you'd be much better off to be polite, pleasant, and nice to them, even if you think they're all wet and just dumber than rocks. That's probably not helpful for you to go around saying that that's the case. Okay? And I'm not, again, does that mean your generation, your group of people that you currently run with and so forth are not going to accomplish potentially some amazing things? No, it doesn't mean that. Certainly you will. Or hopefully you will, because if you don't, we're in trouble. We're starting to go backwards. So hopefully you will. Right? And I have to tell you something. That's my profound hope for you. It's not something that I'm saying just to say it. It's something that I hope for. But on the other hand, those people in former generations may have seen things that you have no idea about. So I urge you to treat them better than, for example, I did with my prior lineage. I'll just say that now. Okay, I need to go ahead and wrap this up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Friday, the 20th of August of 2021. Tomorrow will be Saturday, the 21st of August of 2021. Well, thank you for everybody who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Remember that Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a positive Rumble, the plus sign, or a negative Rumble, the minus sign on Rumble if you choose to do so. Obviously, I prefer the positive, but you can give me the negative. You can give me a thumbs up or a like on YouTube. You can give me a thumbs down or a dislike on YouTube as well. You can, of course, comment on Rumble or YouTube, and if you do so, I'll do everything that I can to get through whatever comments are made and read those comments. Remember that if you give me a negative review, I would really like to know why. I get that you may not be able to do that or feel obliged to do that. That's fine, too. You have the right to do it or not. Today we've been talking about the new crop, and tomorrow we're going to talk about an interesting idea. I call it wealth gap, and I think that we really need to discuss this because I think some people are a little bit confused about this. I've talked about it before, but I want to focus in on that on this next one. Hope you're doing well today. It is that first day of the weekend at the end of the day today as many people look at things. I believe at sundown we're also seeing the Sabbath starting for those who observe the Sabbath. I hope your Sabbath is a good one. I hope you're having a good day. Hope things are going well for you and that you're getting stuff done as you need to in order to move towards that weekend and be happy that you're not going to come back to a mess when you come back to other things that you have to do. Hope things are going well for you, and I hope that I will see you again on Saturday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Friday, August 20th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.